What is up, everybody? It is your boy Razorbacks Rule, and welcome back to another schedule prediction. We are doing our fourth team, which is the Florida Gators. The Gators coming off of a 5-7 season, one of the most disappointments. They started off 5-4, and then they lost their last 4 games and finished 5-7. How will they bounce back this year? How can they make a bowl game? Well, we take a look at the schedule, and boy, let's just say this schedule is brutal. It is brutal. They start off with Miami at home. The Hurricane come in with a lot of talent. Mario Cristobal is doing a lot of good things over there. Honestly, this Miami team is going to be real good this year. But they are coming into Gainesville, which should be a plus for Florida. But Miami is too. This is going to be a good team. So even though it is at the Swamp, I think Miami will come into Florida and give Florida an opening season loss. I got the Florida Gators dropping to 0-1, but they do get an easy opponent beating Samford. I do think they can beat Samford at home. Then they get Texas A&M at home, another team that could be like mediocre this year, but I think might be real good. A&M is going to be going to be like at least one of those like mediocre teams next year. So, but but this will be a tough game for Florida, from Florida. And I think Texas A&M is going to come into Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and take that win to drop Florida to 1-2. Then they go on the road at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs, Mississippi State is going to be, I don't know how to explain. Mississippi State coming off of a 5-7 season. They're getting Jeff Lebby coming in. So it's on the road. New head coach. We don't know what this Mississippi State team will look like. So I think I got Florida going on the road, beating Mississippi State to go to 2-2 on the year. Then they get UCF at home. This is a Central Florida team that is going to be real good. They got Arkansas quarterback KJ Jefferson coming in, and remember what KJ Jefferson did last time he was here in Gainesville, won in overtime 39-36. This could potentially well be the case again, but UCF could come in and upset, but since it's at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, I got Florida winning this game. But don't be surprised if UCF comes in here and wins, because that's going to be a good team. Then they get Tennessee on the road, getting a new quarterback in Nico Amalivia. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but they're returning a lot of talent. They get Brew McCoy, Squirrel White. They get all those guys back, and then you got running backs Dylan Sampson. Tennessee's going to have a great running game next year. Their passing game is going to be a little bit of a question, but their running game is going to be solid next year. Honestly, I don't think Florida can go on the road and defeat Tennessee. I got them losing that game, dropping to 3-3. Then they get Kentucky at home. Kentucky has owned Florida for the last 3 years. And Kentucky, it could be an average team, but Kentucky is one of those like average teams that could pull off an upset. Kentucky has owned Florida for the past 3 years. I don't see that change, and I think Kentucky comes on the road and takes down the Gators. And they drop to 3-4. Then they get Georgia and Jacksonville, the world's largest cocktail party. Georgia is going to be a really good team next year. They're going to be an elite team. They're going to be that juggernaut, and I'm just going to say they are the new dynasty of college football. And honestly, looking at it I'm going to say Florida will take this loss right here. And looking at the future, I don't expect Florida to beat Georgia anytime soon. So they dropped to 3-5 on the year. Then they go on the road at Texas. This is a tough, brutal stretch right here. You got to play Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, and Texas. My goodness, that is brutal. Texas is going to be another college football playoff team next year, getting into the 12-team playoffs, and my goodness. I don't know how Florida can go on the road and do this. I expect them to drop this one on the road to go to 3-6. 3-6, and then And then they come back home and face off LSU. LSU has done Florida good in these past few games. But LSU, man, I just don't know how they do. LSU, man, even though they might be overhyped, they do have a better team than Florida, so I expect Florida to take that loss. Then you get Ole Miss. My goodness, the Rebels coming in. Since it's at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, I don't know. Ole Miss is going to be a real good team next year. Honestly, just give me a loss right there, dropping them to 3-8. And then they go on the road at Florida State. Man, what a tough way to end the season. At Florida State. I mean, they are losing a lot of talent from last year, but still, this team is they might drop off a little bit, but still, this is going to be a very good team. I expect Florida State to win this one. That means I got the Florida Gators finishing off the season at 3-9 with a 1-7 record in the SEC. And so right in this game, honestly, I want Florida to do better. I like Graham Mertz. I like them. I like their offense, and I want them to do better. But when you look, I want them to be 6-6. I want them to make a bowl game. But when you look at this schedule, I mean, geez, it is just brutal. Dude, my goodness, I've never seen anything of a brutal schedule like this before. You got to start off with Miami at home, and then you got to go on a really tough stretch playing Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State. That is brutal. My goodness. I don't know how Florida can survive this schedule. I'm sorry, Gator fans, but I wish so I have Florida going through. So I have Florida going 3-9 with a 1-7 record, finishing last in their conference. And I'm sorry, Florida fans. I want y'all. I want to predict y'all could do better. But with this tough schedule, gosh, man, it just looks brutal. My goodness. Even UCF could come on the road and y'all could be 2-10. Y'all could possibly be 1-11. Jeez, that's how brutal this schedule is. Man, I'm sorry, Florida, but I really wish I could do better for y'all, but I'm sorry, Florida fans, but y'all are going to be in for a long season.